Now, the news. B&T USA is now importing guns from a company called Phoenix, which is based out of Switzerland. These are said to be inspired by the CZ75, and from what I can tell, they're mostly just clones. The first one is called the Redback, and it's a 4.5-inch 9mm with four 17-round mags, which is just awesome. I wish more companies would just add this much value to guns. I've been banging that drum for a while. This is great. The weird trigger, that kind of whatever we're calling that, the triangle trigger is what they call it. That is supposed to give you better leverage for a better double action trigger press, and the single action actually looks pretty short as well. They also say that these are all hand fit, so that means I guess they're just buttery smooth. It's tough to say without feeling one, but B&T doesn't strike me as a brand that messes with low-quality partnerships. There's also the Drake pistols, which are 5-inch versions in a single/double action, except the SAO, which is single action only. And that has a flat trigger, the SAO does. They all have an optic plate system that they claim has a return to zero, I guess if you had to remove it, which is a claim I don't think I've ever seen before on a pistol. They look really nice on the surface. However, the unfortunate thing is that, kind of like SIG, there's no MSRP on these. But because it's B&T and they seem kind of fancy, I'm betting they're not gonna be cheap. Sound off in the comments with the prices that you think they'll be at dealers. Just make it up. It'll be fun. We'll all learn together. Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News. I'm John Patton. Hello. Welcome. It's good to have you here. I'm glad you give a damn about what we're doing. If you're new, please consider subscribing, because we're trying to reach 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we need your help to get that done. If you enjoy guns at all, it would be awesome to have you be a part of our team. It's a rowdy bunch of folks. We love you all. It's going to be great. Now, we have a bunch of stuff to cover this week. There's so much. I missed a couple episodes. I was traveling, so try to keep up. We're going to cover a lot of ground here. Our next gun this week is being imported by IFG, or Italian Firearms Group, and it's from Tanfoglio. It's called the Defiant Tactical Pro, and it's another CZ75 clone. This one has a 4.5-inch barrel that is threaded, although there's no real info on the thread pitch, so we can all just hope it's half 28 threads. Then there's also an optic cut slide, and we don't know what the optic is cut for. Yay! And it comes with 17-round mags, but again, IFG is bad at informing people, so there's no info on how many mags you actually get with the gun. Whoopity-doo. MSRP here is $15.30 for the green one and $15.70 for the black version. No idea why it's $40 more. It blows my mind that basic info about any gun isn't available at the time of launch or when they send out a press release. It shocks me every time how bad these marketing teams can be. It's unbelievable. CZ has announced an entirely new line of rifles, sort of. This is the new 600 Plus line, not to be confused with the 600 line that came out about a year ago. They don't really explain the differences, so I guess we can assume they fixed some stuff here. I don't know. They didn't say at all. They don't even acknowledge that the other ones existed. The bragging points they're talking about are things like interchangeable barrels. It's got like a new fancy system there. And they say it's easy enough for end users to do with minimal tools. They've got a new magazine, a new trigger system, a 60-degree bolt throw. They're also bragging about sub-MOA accuracy across all of these except the compact trail model, which is only guaranteed to 2 MOA. Interesting. Models include the Range, Trail, Alpha, Lux, and American. There are also 3 action sizes within this: mini, medium, and long action. And then you have 3 barrel profiles with light, semi-heavy, and heavy. All of the barrels come threaded, and overall there's just a ton going on with this lineup. MSRPs range from $800 for the Alpha up to $1,600 on the Range model. Honestly, they look fantastic to me. And the prices aren't really that offensive if the accuracy claims hold up. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see us get one of these to review at some extended ranges. We have access to some really deep shots, so if you want us to try it, we can. In even more European gunmaker news, Beretta has launched another new line they're calling the 92X Performance Carry Optic Dark Series. There are 3 different color variants here. The Scorched Earth, or red, Midnight Squall, or blue, and Solar Flare, aka yellow. All of them carry an MSRP of $1,700, which is just not cheap at all. In fact, if you exclude the Manurin revolvers that they import, these are some of the most expensive pistols they make right now. The barrels are 4.9 inch, the mags hold 18 rounds, and these are very similar to the other 92X pistols, with the exception of the colors. In other new gun news, Ruger has added a threaded barrel version of the RXM to the lineup for $570 MSRP. That's $70 more than standard, which is really not bad. If you wanted a threaded barrel version, that's the way to go. Most aftermarket barrels are way more expensive than that. We really enjoyed the RXM in our review, so cool, good, great, grand.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
Put a can on it, put a comp on it, whatever. Moving on, Smith & Wesson has a new pistol for us. It's called the Shield X, and this is the next generation of one of the most popular pistols ever. The Shield was very popular, sold millions of them. The main changes come in the form of a slightly different slide. The serrations are slightly different, and the slide is cut for RMSC optics out of the gate. And I don't believe that was standard on the last model until like later on. It was a separate optic cut model. And they're also bragging about something called the Clear Sight Cut, which is designed to divert gases away from the optic to keep that front glass cleaner. Cool, that's great if it works. And also the ergonomics are changed a little bit. The texture looks a little bit finer. It's different shapes on the grip. The barrel is 3.6 inches. The mags are 13 and 15 round, and the MSRP is $600. That is $50 more than the previous generation with similar features. The barrel is also slightly longer than the previous generation. The standard for the Shield used to be 3.1 inches, but now they're doing a 3.6 inch version. I suspect they're trying to come up with something that competes with the 365 on a much better level, but who knows if they will ever catch back up to the days of the original sales. When I was working in a gun store, it was almost like every other gun was a Shield sale. It was crazy. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this one. Is the Shield still a legit competitor in the EDC market these days? And while you're leaving your thoughts down there, let's hear from this week's sponsor, Phorm. Oh, hey, if you want to keep seeing more gun reviews from us, make sure you support our friends over at Phorm. They've been helping me personally on a health journey, and I'm really enjoying both the level 1 meal replacement protein as well as the level 1 bars when I need sort of a midday hit. And the meat sticks are pretty good too. There's a link in the description to check them out, firstform.com/John Patton. I'd appreciate it if you supported them. Let's keep it rolling with this week's friendly fire question. If you want to ask me a question, slam it down in the comments with the words friendly fire so that I can go back and find it. That's how this works. It goes great when you do that. We've got a few this week, as per usual. First is from Tea Party Solutions, and they're asking, if someone was to start a new firearms business, what is a hole in the industry that needs to be filled? I get asked this question kind of all the time. It's sporadic, but a lot of people ask me this kind of thing. And to be honest, if I saw an obvious answer to this, I would start the business myself. I'm sure there's something that I'm not seeing, but I think it's up to the business owner to figure out what is missing and then how to move forward. If I knew the hole, I would just do it myself. Matt Gilfus says, what is a trauma kit and what does it come with and how do you use all that stuff? This is in response to me showing one in the promotion for Medical Gear Outfitters in a prior week. Generally speaking, it's a first aid kit that includes tools and items that are aimed at being able to handle more traumatic medical things than like a basic cut. These would handle things like gunshot wound, maybe some stuff, accidents like car accidents, other horrible things, traumatic things. There are so many things in these kits that it varies from brand to brand. And what I will say to that is go take a medical class, get educated, and then figure out what you want or need in your kit. Medical training is very important, so I recommend it to anyone out there. CJR says, do you think budget brands like TSOS are going to cause larger companies to drop prices? I think it's possible that more established American brands will continue their path and maybe not try to do the race to the bottom. I don't think that's like the immediate reaction. It's also possible that the sale of these guns that are cheap will get so large that it hurts the bottom line for the large brands, so we could see 1 or 2 paths possibly. They're either going to try to make their own cheap gun, which is the most likely thing, or they will focus on the more expensive stuff entirely and just scrap cheap guns. But I think they would more than likely make their own cheap gun and try to push them out of the market. My friendly fire question to you guys this week: what is the highest price point that you would consider for your EDC gun? Sound off in the comments, as per frickin' usual. That's how we talk. Sound off down there with your thoughts. Let's jump into some industry news. We've got a bunch this week. There's a lot of stuff going on. Barrett announced that they have broken ground on a new facility in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And they say it is, oh, this is great, heralding a new era in weapons systems manufacturing. They're calling it the BMTC, or Barrett Manufacturing and Technology Campus. And the project is slated to cost $76.4 million, and it encompasses a 170-acre campus down there in Murfreesboro. I'm eager to see what they come up with in terms of tech and all the stuff that's going to be coming in the years to come. I mean, they set the pace with the M82A1 years and years ago, so let's see if they can do it again, right? Voodoo Gun Works announced that they are relocating to a new facility in Prague, Oklahoma. It is kind of odd because I'd heard a bunch of unsubstantiated, I will say they're unsubstantiated, claims that earlier this year, this brand was in financial trouble. So maybe this is part of them fixing that, sweeping it under the rug, perhaps? I don't know. If anyone at Voodoo wants to reach out and clarify, that'd be kind of cool. Be great. Thompson Center Arms, classic company. Glad they're back. They announced that they purchased a company called Green Mountain Barrels. This is pretty neat to hear because I want this company to return to their former glory, and bringing barrel making under the umbrella or roof is always good, assuming the quality remains high. If you're already purchasing the entire capacity of a company, sometimes it does make sense to just own the whole company. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. Where is it? That is a TC gun, an older TC gun right there, and I love it. It's awesome. SAMI, aka the Sporting Arms and Ammunition Manufacturers Institute, has set forth voluntary industry performance standards criteria for firearms sound suppressors for the use of commercial manufacturers. It is, yeah, that's what, yep, long. All that means is that the industry group has come up with some actual standards, and being that SAMI spec is well accepted for ammo, this could be very good for suppressors in that market, especially as the zero tax thing approaches. We need both independent testing, that is very important, and agreed upon standards and methodology for that testing so that everybody's speaking the same language. We've seen a sweeping use of the hub mount in the rear of a can. That just kind of popped up out of nowhere and started being accepted everywhere. And I would love to see more standards accepted like this. We shall see if this sticks. And while we're talking about standardizing, hey, industry guys, why don't you figure out how to standardize optic mounts and screws and footprints and all that? Figure that out. Side quest. If you haven't yet, go follow me on X. We're giving away stuff over there all the time, and I'd love to see you on that platform. And rounding us out this week is something kind of wholesome. My friend Chris over at CloverTac put together something pretty amazing involving GunCon. I was not aware of this. It's pretty cool. These are GunCon trading cards. I had no idea he was doing this until he put it in front of me, but I'm here for it. The idea here is that the sale of these cards will go towards funding our friend Tony Simon of The Second Is For Everyone, which is one of the best events growing the gun community here on the East Coast. It's something he does all the time, and he's bringing in new shooters, showing them all kinds of stuff. Tony's running it. He's awesome. He was on the panel this year. If you're into gun tubers and you want to help a good cause, please go to the eBay link in the description and go bid on them. That'd be great. Thanks. See you next week.